Hello everyone, my name is Amanpreet Singh Chadha and you are watching me on KGS Engineers AJ YouTube channel. A very warm welcome to all of you. As you know, this session will be conducted in English language. This session is dedicatedly we have made for those students for whom English is more comfortable than Hindi. So you can say that students, those who live the southern part of the country or in the northeastern part of the country or the eastern or the western part, for those students this session will be very much advantageous as they would be able to understand the concepts much better. We have a class running at 11 a.m. also, but that class is conducted in Hindi and we have received so many emails from the students that as Hindi is not their first language, they are unable to understand so many concepts. So to remove this barrier the students face in their learning, we have introduced this session. So I hope this session will bring the results you carve and this will make you a better civil engineer. So join this session now, share it with your friends and let the journey begin. Pranam, good evening, good afternoon. This is afternoon, evening starts after 5 p.m. So, pyare bachcho, join. Today we will be solving some very interesting questions. We will be learning some very interesting concepts. Pranam. Namaste and pranam. And I would also like to suggest you that kindly share this session, especially with those who are more comfortable in English language. So a very important thing that you should know that why you should join, why you should be the part of KGS engineers. So at KGS you get a very experienced teachers in the form of me and Apoorv sir. The cumulative experience of mine and Apoorv sir is 27 years. We give you the most engaging content. We provide AI integrated PPTs that definitely help you in learning the concepts better and at a very affordable price. So this is very rare that you get the essence of Ferrari at the cost of, let's say, Maruti, but this happens in KGS. And as you know, Khan sir, the trust that Khan sir has built is impeccable. So you get the trust of the KGS, as well as we are working on test series and notebook, and very soon we will launch them, and this will definitely help you in cracking the exam you target. Hello, good afternoon. Now one more important thing is that very soon we are launching the ITI Foundation Batch. We are launching it in the first week of June, and definitely this batch will help you in clearing the exam that you are targeting. So either you are targeting SSC, JEE or any state level JEE or in fact A exam, this batch will help you and we will give you the best possible quality content at a very affordable price. The features we are bringing in this batch we have never done before. So this time this batch will be bigger and better. Definitely, मेरे प्यारे बच्चे, definitely this batch will JEE मेरे बच्चे JEE. So this batch will definitely help all those students who are preparing for various state JEE as well as A exams. The reason I am saying A is that when we teach in this batch, when we teach in any batch, we always target a level higher. So what comes above JEE? A comes above JEE. So even though the batch is for JEE students, but the quality we give is for the A level. So this batch will help you in JEE as well as A exams. And very soon I will discuss all the details of this batch, everything. So, pyare bachcho, let's start the session. Now, this is the question number first. The ruling design speed on a national highway in plain terrain as per IRC recommendation is what? Okay. Every year, the vacancies that definitely for which exams are conducted is SSC. So, if you are a junior engineer aspirant, then always prepare for SSC. The answer is 100 kmph. Okay. Now, this question is a directly table based question. So if you are well aware of the table, this question can be easily answered. One more question can be derived, which is, what is the speed for expressways? What is the speed for the expressways? But this session is dedicated to English speaking learners. So, इतने English क्यों बोल रहे भैया? That's why I'm speaking. तुम ना बोलने दोगे मेरे को? Please show the table. We'll show you the table. But please give the answer first. The answer is 120 kmph. Now, are you willing to hear a joke? Type yes or no. Are you willing to hear a very sincere joke? I believe you would love it. The joke is based on the English language. Helpline number KGS, you will get this on the website, my bache. So the joke is like this. A student enters in a classroom and asks the teacher, "Ma'am, duster hai kya?" So a student enters the classroom and asks the teacher, "Ma'am, duster hai kya?" The teacher was teaching English. So she immediately said, "Let's speak in English. This is an English classroom right now." So now the student flabbergasted said, "Ma'am, duster hai kya?" तुम लोग मुझसे यही इंग्लिश बुलवा दोगे थोड़े टाइम में, मैं ऐसे ही पढ़ा रहूंगा। मेरे बच्चों, व्हाट स्पीड क्या होती है एक्सप्रेस वे पर? You people will not let me farm my aura. Chalo ji, moving to next question. Bitumen of grade 80 by 100 means what? Now, be serious, be sincere. So, bitumen of grade 80 by 100 means its penetration value is from 8 mm to 10 mm. The penetration value is from 8 mm to 10 mm. The hydraulic head that would produce a quick condition in a sand stratum of thickness 1.5 meter, specific gravity this and void ratio this is equal to what? So, bache, this type of question is regularly asked, so you must know that how to solve such questions. So, hydraulic gradient is head loss per unit length, which is equal to G minus 1 upon 1 plus E. So, G is 2.67 minus 1, 1.67 divided by 1.67. Now, head loss is to be determined and length is 1.5. So, the value of H is 1.5 meter. Coefficient of consolidation for clays normally does what? First increases, then decreases with increase in liquid limit, increases with increase in liquid limit, remains constant at all liquid limit, decrease with increase in limit, decrease with increase in liquid limit. This is the coefficient of consolidation. तुमको 2 गुना लगान देना पड़ेगा. So as the liquid limit increases, so does the value of coefficient of consolidation. The answer is option B. Now I am writing down a formula which is compression index equals to 0.007 WL minus 10. Now can you tell me for which type of soil is this formula applied? For which type of soil is this formula applied? This is applied for remolded. CR7. So compression index for remolded soil has the expression 7 in it, whereas for sensitive clays the formula is 0.009. Select the incorrect statement. Now always lay focus when these types of questions are asked that either the correct statement is to be determined or the incorrect. Unconfined compression test can be carried out on all types of soil. Stress distribution on the failure plane in the case of triaxial compression test is uniform. In a direct shear box test, the plane of shear failure is predetermined. Better control is achieved on the drainage of the soil in triaxial compression. Yes. So the very first statement is wrong. Now can you tell me for which type of soil you prefer the unconfined compression test? Oh, I marked the wrong option. Oh, I apologize. It decreased with increase in liquid limit. Sorry. Now coming to this part. Yes. In fact, the most appropriate answer is saturated clay. Contact pressure beneath a rigid footing resting on cohesive soil is what? Rigid footing and cohesive soil. So we know a code which is sand. Now, if this soil is non-cohesive, then the pressure distribution has a figure D in it, whereas for clay, the shape is like C. So for clay, the contact pressure is maximum at the edges and minimum at the center. The answer is option. So you can see that if you are well aware with this code, this is so easy to answer. The question has become easier because you know the code. Masoom Bacho, this is the distribution. This is for granular soil in rigid footing. The soil most susceptible to liquefaction are which one? The soil most susceptible to liquefaction are which one? This is saturated, fine and medium sands. Now dear bachcho, let's learn something. Let's learn Metacenter. Now in the concept of Metacenter, you must be aware of a term which is the time of oscillations. Now this time of oscillation has a formula which is 2 pi under root numerator divided by denominator multiplied by g. Now what is the numerator and denominator? Let's see how many of you know the answer. My innocent children. My God, so many intelligent students in a single classroom. This must be a world record. This is k square upon gm into g. Now what is this k? This k is known as what? What is this k? This k is radius of gyration. Now, whenever the radius of gyration term is introduced, it must be known about which axis? About y-axis or about x-axis? Radius of gyration about which axis? Is it about the y-axis or the x-axis? Very good. It's about the y-axis. This GM, this is known as metacentric height. The expression is I upon V bar minus BG. I is the moment of inertia about the water plane surface. This V is the volume of water displaced. And this BG is the difference between center of buoyancy and center of gravity. My question to you is, if the value of GM, if the metacentric height increases, what happens to the stability of the floating body? Listen to the question again. My question is, if the metacentric height increases, what happens to the stability of floating body? It increases, it decreases, or it remains same? What happens? It increases. Very good. So, if you increase the metacentric height, it increases the stability of the floating body. Now tell me two ways to increase metacentric height. Tell me two ways to increase metacentric height. बिल्कुल सही. One of the way is to increase the width. To increase the width. Because this eye you take is in the top view of the ship. So when you see the top view of the ship, you get this width. So more is the value of width, more you get the value of I. More is the I, more is metacentric height, which means better will be the stability. Now what is the another way of increasing metacentric height? What is the other way of increasing metacentric height? Good. You decrease, lower down the center of gravity. Okay. Now what is the difference between liquefaction, quicksand and sensitivity? Before answering this question, there is a common thing. What is the common thing in this three terms? What is the common thing between liquefaction, quicksand and sensitivity? Which one point is common in all these three phenomena? Yes. The point is that eventually effective stress becomes zero, or you can say shear strength becomes zero. Now the difference in these three terms is the way in which shear strength reduces. In liquefaction, this happens because of vibrations. In quicksand, shear strength reduces due to upward seepage. Now, can anyone tell me in sensitivity what leads to the decrement in shear strength of soil? Very good. This is the word I was looking for. In sensitivity, remolding causes the loss of shear strength. Can you define remolding in simpler terms? Now, if I ask you what is the meaning of remolding, can you answer remolding in simpler terms? Let's say this is an interview and I ask you that what do you mean by remolding? What you would say? Disturbance of particles. Okay. Anyone else? Rearrangement of particles at the same water content. Good. So remolding is a rearrangement of soil structure, which is obviously the movement of particles. So in all the three terms, the shear strength reduces, but due to different reasons. In liquefaction, Due to the vibrations, the soil structure collapses, resulting in loss of shear strength, which consequently causes the settlement of the soil. This liquefaction actually happened 3 years back in Joshimath. Now, Joshimath is a very important place because once you visit Kedarnath, Joshimath is the last big city. So, it is used by the people, those who visit pilgrimage Kedarnath. So, in Joshimath, what happened was, due to the various seismic activity, liquefaction occurred, and due to this liquefaction, the loss of shear strength of soil occurred, resulting in the settlement of the soil. Now, once the soil settles, resulting in the settlement of foundation, which caused cracks. So, 3 years back, this was a major story in the context, but right now it is not getting as much articles as it should get. Okay, moving on to next question. The slope of the E log P curve for a soil mass gives you what? Now, this question is very easy. The slope of E log P curve bears compression index. Now, this question is very easy. Now, let me ask you a difficult one. Also answer me, what is the definition? What is the definition of volume compressibility? Now, volume compressibility is AV upon 1 plus E naught. Now, if I ask you, what is the definition of volume compressibility? What you would say? Now, this type of question we have solved so many times. Whenever they ask you to define a constant, all you need to do is make the denominator 1. Now, here you cannot make the denominator 1 because denominator would be 1 when void ratio is 0, which is not possible. Void ratio cannot be 0. Now, there is another way to solve or define MV. How? AV is delta E upon delta sigma bar 1 plus E naught. We know that delta E upon 1 plus E naught is delta V upon V naught and delta sigma bar. Now we can define MV. So, coefficient of volume compressibility is the change in volume of a soil when effective stress changes by 1 unit and the original volume of the soil is also 1 unit. So, what is the definition of coefficient of volume compressibility? Coefficient of volume compressibility is the change in volume of a soil whose original volume is 1 unit and this volume change occurred because of the change of effective stress by 1 unit. So, always remember this, bacho, whenever you need to define a constant, always put the denominator as 1. Now, let's see how well you can define this term. Now, if I ask you, how would you define modulus of rigidity? Now, define modulus of rigidity. Now, if you are able to define modulus of rigidity correctly, then I am 100% sure you can define any constant. Change in effect stress per unit volume. My dear, in modulus of rigidity, there is no role of volume. So, first of all, we must be aware of the expression of the modulus of rigidity, which is tau upon phi. Now, what have I told you? I have told you whenever you need to define a constant, all you need to do is put the denominator as 1. So modulus of rigidity is the shear stress required to produce a shear strain of 1 unit. Unit shear strain. Very good, Arjun. Now comes the very important point. We know that shear strain is defined in radians. So modulus of rigidity is the shear stress required to produce a shear strain of 1 radian. Now dear bachcho, 1 radian, we know that pi is 180 degree. So 1 radian is 180 by pi. Now this value is nearly equal to 57 degrees. $57.3 degree. Now listen to this. This is very important. Now what is the meaning of modulus of rigidity? We say that the modulus of rigidity of steel is 80 gigapascal. What would happen if a shear stress of 80 gigapascal is induced in steel? So if I make a cross section of steel and apply a shear stress tau, in order to get 1 radian, which is 57.3 degree of angular change, I need to apply a shear stress of 80 gigapascal. So in steel, when I apply a shear stress of 80 gigapascal, what would happen? A shear strain of 1 radian or 57.3 degrees will be induced. So this is the angular change of 1 radian or 57.3 degrees. So whenever you heard the term modulus of rigidity and it has a certain value, it implies that modulus of rigidity is the shear stress required to produce a shear strain of 1 radian or 57.3 degrees. My dear students, I hope you are getting the concept. No worries, Jimmy, no worries. Now, let's make the concept even more better or clear. Okay, now define me. Let's see how well you define this. How would you define Young's modulus now? Now, this is like a test. If I say that Young's modulus of, let's say, steel is 200 gigapascals, what happens at this value of stress? Gigapascal is the unit of stress. So something happens at this value of stress. What happens at this value of stress? Let's see who gave the answer first and obviously correct. So write down the expression first. Young's modulus is stress upon strain. So Young's modulus is the stress induced when strain is unity. So in order to produce a unit strain, the amount of stress required, the amount of normal stress required is the Young's modulus. Now, it is possible that you are unable to grasp the value of unit strain. What does unit strain mean? Now, let's solve this. So, strain is change in length upon original length. Change in length is final length minus initial upon initial length, and this value is 1. So, change in length minus original length is original length. So change in length is equals to twice of original length. So my dear students, right now a very important discussion is to be unfolded. You will be learning something which is of great importance. What is the meaning of the value of the Young's modulus? Young's modulus is the normal stress required to produce unit strain. Now, what is unit strain? Unit strain implies that the stress you have applied has made the final length twice the original length. So, if I ask you that what is the value of 200 gigapascal imply, you would say that if in a steel bar, a normal stress of 200 gigapascal is applied, the final length will be made twice the initial length. Whatsoever be the initial length, if the initial length is 2 meter of a steel, if I apply a stress of 200 gigapascal, this initial length will be made twice. It will be 4. If it is 4, it will be made 8. If it is 8, it will be made 16. So Young's modulus is the stress required to make the final length twice the initial length. मेरे बच्चे हिंदी में सेशन सुबह होता है 11 बजे, प्लीज उसमें आइए. इसमें अगर आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो कोशिश करिए, बट बेटा प्लीज पढ़ाने दीजिए. So my dear students, if you got the concept, write down yes and show me a thumbs up. Very good. Very good. Very, very good. And you can define all the constant in all the subjects in this way. Put the denominator equals to 1 and then numerator will be equal to the constant, and you can define the constant in the same way. Dhanyavad. So let's, as you have given me so many compliments, let's see how much you have learned. Can you define me what is the meaning of coefficient of thermal expansion? Now, if I ask you that coefficient of thermal expansion of steel is 12 into 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius. If you are able to define this thing, you have got the concept. Now you can define any constant in any subject. English में धन्यवाद बोला मैं. और now बच्चे, thermal strain is proportional to change in temperature. Now remove this proportionality and this will be alpha into delta T. So alpha is thermal strain upon change in temperature. So what does the value of alpha signify? It signifies alpha is the change, alpha is the thermal strain induced in the body when you change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So if in steel I change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, the thermal strain induced will be 12 into 10 to the power minus 6, which is equal to the coefficient of thermal expansion. Now comes a very important point. One of the student has written increase. No, we are not saying the temperature is increasing or decreasing. We are saying the change in temperature. What I am trying to say is, if you change the temperature from 22 to 23, this is a 1 degree change. Now, if you change the temperature from 22 to 21, this is also 1 degree change. So, we are not saying we are increasing the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. We are just saying we are changing the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So, either I increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius or I decrease the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. At this point, the thermal strain induced is known as alpha. Once I get the thermal strain, I know thermal strain is change in length upon original length. I can get the change in length if I know the original length. So, the purpose of alpha is to find out the thermal strain induced in the body per unit change in temperature. Change, not increase or decrease, change. It could be increase or decrease. And once I know alpha, I know thermal strain. If I know the original length, I can find the change in length. Yes, it is change in temperature. It could be either increasing or decreasing. So alpha remains 12 into 10 to the power minus 6. Either you change the temperature, you increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, or you decrease the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. And bacho, this is what the purpose is. Either the session in the morning at 11 a.m. or this session. The purpose is very clear, to make you aware with the concepts of civil engineering. The purpose is not just limited to solve some numerical, some questions, some theoretical data. No. The purpose of the YouTube channel is and always been this only, to make students aware with the concepts of civil engineering. Bacho, I hope now you are well versed with the concept of the definition of the constants. Even in the morning session, every single day, we try to learn something new apart from the questions and all. Now let's solve some numericals. A site having a deposit of dry sandy soil, an average value of standard penetration resistance N is equal to 6. The compactness of the soil deposit can be described as what? मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, आंसर दीजिए. Now, if you know the table related to this question, you could easily answer. So, the number, the N value, the resistance value is 6. And when the resistance value is 6, it is a loose soil. So, this table is of extreme importance. Almost every year, several questions are asked from this table. So, make sure you know and remember this table. Learn this table, मेरे बच्चों. Under a given load, a clay layer attains 30% degree of consolidation in 1000 days. The time taken by the same clay layer to attain 60% degree of consolidation will be what? So the soil is same, the drainage condition is same. So TV is pi by 4 ut square is equals to cvt by h square. So 30%, 0.3 into 0.3. The time taken is 1000 days. Now this is 0.6 into 0.6. 1 by 2, 1 by 2. The answer will be what? 4000 days. Not 400, 4000 days. Now this is obvious that if 30% consolidation has taken 1000 days, 60% consolidation will take more days. This is obvious. So answer is not 400, it is 4000. A zero is missing. So is the concept of few students who have wrote down 400. The type of fitting which is used to transmit heavy loads through steel column is which one? Now this is a straightforward question. Steel columns are used in grillage foundation. This is a grillage foundation. In supercritical open channel flow, what happens? In supercritical open channel flow, what happens? Supercritical flow occurs when depth of flow is less than critical depth. The answer is option A. In Newton formulation, the law of fluid friction, what happens to what? When Newton formulated law of viscosity, which two parameters he interlinked? It is shear stress is proportional to rate of shear strain. मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, which type of fluid is a cement paste? Few days back we have discussed the various fluids as per Newton law of viscosity. Let's see how much you remember. Which type of fluid is a cement paste? One of the most important material for us civil engineers. Bingham plastic, pseudoplastic, rheopectic, Bingham, rheopectic, pseudo. Now, first of all, let's eliminate few options. It is not Bingham plastic. The answer is not Bingham plastic. Now, how can you remember this concept? Now, this is a very easy concept. Now, if you try to cram it, cram is ratna. If you try to cram it, you won't be able to hold it for a long time. The problem with cramming ratna is that you lose the entire part or entire thing that you have crammed within few days. But if you know the concept, if you have learned the concept, you will keep it forever. Now, bache, what happens with cement paste? Cement paste becomes stiff with time. It becomes stiff with time. So it is a time dependent fluid. Pseudoplastic and dilatant, they are time independent fluids. So as cement paste is a time dependent fluid, it could either be thixotropic or rheopectic. Now, as I have just mentioned, it stiffens with the time, means the viscosity increases with the time. Now, when does the viscosity increases? In this case. So, if you take the slope of this curve, the viscosity keeps on increasing. Stiffness keeps on increasing, and this is the graph of rheopectic. So cement paste is a rheopectic fluid. One last question. Which type of fluid is quicksand? Which type of fluid is quicksand? Another very important concept for us civil engineers. Very good. Now, quicksand has nothing to do with time. So, it is a time independent fluid. So, either it could be pseudoplastic or it could be dilatant. In dilatant or pseudoplastic, after the application of the shear stress, a change occurs. In pseudoplastic, the viscosity decreases, whereas in dilatant, the viscosity increases. Now, if let's say an animal is stuck in a quicksand, if it will try to come out of the quicksand, it will do some struggle, and this will result in shear stress. Now, due to the shear stress, the viscosity of the solution will increase. So, this is shear thickening. So, quicksand is an example of dilatant. Now, the last question related to this concept, water. Which type of fluid is water? Which type of fluid is water? Now, most of the students are answering Newtonian. Good. And the reason you can give is that its viscosity remains constant. So even when you apply shear stress, its viscosity remains constant. It does not change. It does not show change in viscosity either with respect to time or with respect to the applied shear. Now, can you name another Newtonian fluid? Is there any other Newtonian fluid apart from water? Can you name another Newtonian fluid? Good. Petrol, alcohol. Yes. So these are the examples of Newtonian fluid. My dear students, from the last 53 minutes, we are studying. And trust me, I did not know that this much time has elapsed. You people have such a majestic presence that in your presence, the time flows away at a quicker rate. So I hope you like this session. So for today, I will bid you adieu. Now we will meet tomorrow, same time, same place. And yes, recommend this session to all those of your friends who are more comfortable in English. जिन्हें इंग्लिश ज्यादा अच्छे से आती है, उनके साथ शेयर करें. चलिए. So, बच्चों, now I will meet you 11 a.m. tomorrow. We will be solving some questions. You know this, that session will be conducted in Hindi language. The 4 p.m. session will be conducted in English language. But in both the classes, the one thing that is common is civil engineering. Now, I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, do take care. God bless you. Eat well, sleep well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.